In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the only lead generation ecosystem that you will ever need for your business. And this is going to ensure that you always have an influx of leads coming in, and you're never going to have to sit with that problem of having to go out and find new business. All you're going to have to worry about is how you're going to fulfill all the business that you're going to get. So this system is what I use for both myself as well as my clients. And I hope that you guys find value in this video. So I'll jump right in and keep the intro short. This is how you're going to consistently get leads and double them in the next 2 months without spending more money on marketing. So this will help anyone who's doing B2B sales, high ticket sales, SaaS, if you're a coach, honestly, anything and anyone. Like I said, I'm an agency owner, and this is the same system that I use for myself. So the problem that I often hear my clients say is we're spending money on ads and we're generating leads here and there, but our conversion rate isn't where it should be. So for example, if you're spending $1,000 on ads and you're only making $1,200 back, there's a problem there. You should be seeing a much higher return. And if you're not seeing that return, hopefully this video will explain why you're not seeing that return. A lot of the time, I also hear that leads are inconsistently coming in. So it's always a hit or miss. Maybe an ad works here, maybe it doesn't there. This is how we're going to ensure that it works 100% of the time. And also, a big one is you're running ads, but the leads that you're getting are unqualified. Like if you have a plumbing business and then you get a lead who wants a job, that is not the type of person that you should have been targeting in the first place. You shouldn't be getting those inquiries, and we need to fix this. So the solution that we have in this video is how we're going to consistently get leads with a marketing ecosystem that any business can use to scale. And you're never going to have to worry about cold outreach again. It's absolute hell on earth. Sending endless emails, getting 0 responses, picking up the phone, having someone yell at you. That sucks. We don't want to do this ever. And we're never going to have to work with a scammy agency again, because if you do work with an agency, you can ask them questions. And if they don't know about this or they can't implement this for you, then they most likely don't know what they're doing. And you also don't have to become a social media guru this way. I know that everyone preaches have a personal brand, and I mean, I'm sitting here trying to build a personal brand myself, but this is a long-term play. You don't get leads by having a personal brand overnight. I mean, I've been posting on social media for the past 3 years, and I have gotten maybe 2 leads from my social media accounts. So no one blows up overnight, and this is definitely not the way that you're going to get consistent leads quickly. So let me give you a bit of a background on who I am. So my name is Chloe, and I run an agency called Shibui Studios. And I'm only 21 years old, but I have about 4 years experience in this field. I've been doing this since I was about 18, 16 even. And I'm currently studying. I'm studying a Bachelor of Creative Technologies. Was supposed to finish this year, but I dropped out last year. We don't have to go into too much detail there, but I think it's important to have a degree. As much as other people might disagree with me, I like the fact that I know I can finish something that I started. So a bit about my journey. I started selling graphics on Fiverr. Then I started doing graphics for YouTubers. I sold them banners and stuff like that. Then I went to uni, and that's where all of this started again, because I started posting videos. Then I started making websites for fun, and it was just web designs. They weren't actually interactive. But then I thought they should probably be interactive, otherwise there's no point. So then I learned how to develop those websites. And then I realized that businesses need a website to be structured in a way to get leads, because otherwise, what is the point in having a website? It's completely pointless there. So then I figured out how to structure websites so that it converts. And then I figured out how to run ads, because obviously you need to send traffic to a website. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how good it is. And that's the whole ecosystem in a nutshell that I'm going to be breaking down in this video. So basically what we do is we help service-based businesses and e-com brands scale via optimizing their websites and then running ads if they don't have an agency running ads for them already. And all of these parts of this ecosystem go so hand in hand, and it's important that all of the parts are optimized so you have the highest ROI for your business. Otherwise, you're just throwing money into a bucket that's leaking, and no one likes to do that. So let's get into the ecosystem. This is a high-level overview of it, but essentially it's just 3 simple steps. Step number 1 is you have traffic, and you're going to get traffic via Meta ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, LinkedIn ads. There's so many different ways to get traffic. We're going to discuss which ones are the best for you a little bit later on in the video, but you need to first get traffic. Then you need a way to convert that traffic into paying customers, and that's where your website and funnel comes in. And then once you've converted those people on your website or your funnel, you actually need to take a sales call so that you can close the deal. But if the conversion mechanism is effective, it does the hard part for you. Okay, if it's not effective, you're going to have a much harder time closing that client than you need to. So traffic is where you get your ideal target audience or your ideal target client's attention, and this is done via good creatives. Then you have the conversion mechanism, and this is your website and your funnel. But your website and funnel needs to be set up in a good way. So you need to have copy that speaks directly to the client, you need to have clear call to actions, and you need to be very, very persuasive. And like I said, if this is done correctly, the sales part is just so much easier. So at a high level, you need to first have a strategy and define your target audience. Then you need to choose a correct platform. Where is your target audience hanging out? And you need to run ads over here. Then you need to have a website or funnel to send this traffic to in order for them to go somewhere and be converted into a lead. Then you have a sales team or yourself closing the deal. And then you're going to continue optimizing this whole process. Then you need to make sure that you can deliver effectively, otherwise you're going to have a bad reputation and people are not going to come back. First off, you need to define your target audience. So you need to know that person. You need to know who you're selling to better than they know themselves. You need to understand their pains, their wants, their desires, their frustration. And you cannot be broad. If you try to be too broad, you're going to end up speaking to people that you don't want to speak to. And if you try to speak to too many people, you're going to end up speaking to no one. So don't make this mistake and be too broad. And you need to speak to them as if they literally think that this was made specifically for them. It has to be that specific and that targeted. So let's look at Johnny over here. Johnny has a problem with inconsistent leads. He wants to run a successful business, but he's constantly struggling to get clients through the door. He doesn't like working with agencies because most of them actually don't know what they're doing. And this is the type of person that I'd be speaking to as an agency owner. And I know I can help Johnny, but can he afford my services? Does he know that he needs my help? Do we align on how long the work is going to take? These are all questions I need to ask in order to know if Johnny is actually a qualified lead for me and if I should be speaking to him. So an unqualified lead for me is someone who doesn't have any money. They're wasting their time and just want to get information out of me. They don't have an established business, or they don't own the business, or they're not a decision maker, because if they're not even a decision maker, they can't give me the go ahead and say, okay, cool, we want you to do a website or do our marketing for us, because he doesn't have that authority in the business. And another thing that would make him unqualified is if I cannot help him. Then a qualified lead for me, the person has money, he wants my help, they are established, I can help them, and they are the decision maker in the business. So you need to figure out exactly what a qualified lead is for you and your service. If you're selling a high ticket offer, someone who only has $200 is not going to be a qualified lead for you. And we need to figure out how to filter this person out. So now we need to tailor our offer and our messaging in our whole ecosystem to this one target client. We only want to speak to this client. We need to understand what their current situation is. Where do they want to be? How does your offer solve that problem that they're currently having? What are their potential objections? Like, for example, they say your offer is too expensive. What are you going to do to handle that objection? What is going to put them at ease in order to close the deal? So what you need to do then is you need to define your target audience and tailor your marketing and your offer to that target person. You cannot make the mistake of creating an offer before understanding that person, because how do you even know that there is a need for your service? So this is a really crucial step in having a successful business. But I have a lot of people tell me then, but if I only target one person, I lose out on so many clients. No, this is not the case. We want to filter out bad leads. We want to filter out people because we cannot help everyone. But trust me, there's enough people that you can help, but you definitely cannot help everyone. And this is also going to increase your conversion rate because you're speaking more directly to one type of person. You're going to have SOPs that make it easy to streamline business processes, and you're going to have higher quality leads. So the second step in all of this is going to be choosing the platform. And this is a little infographic I got from another marketing agency, Future Famous. And it's basically just a little funnel. So at the top of funnel, we have 80% of people, and they are unaware of the problem and the solution that you have. 16% of them are in the consideration phase, and the last 4% are here at the bottom of the funnel, and they are actually problem aware and they want your help. So the platforms that are often at the top two parts of this funnel is TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, because they are short form platforms. And on short form platforms, the issue that arises is you don't get enough screen time to build trust with your potential client. And most of the time, they're just there for entertainment. They don't have the patience to watch through your 2 minutes ad. They just want to get some instant gratification. And that's why it's harder to get leads on these platforms. But on YouTube and Google, those are long form platforms, which makes it easier to speak to your potential clients and convince them to work with you. So this is why YouTube and Google ads actually work. With YouTube ads, you have very specific targeting. You can target via their search history, the websites that they visited, the YouTube channels that they watch, which means that you have a high lead quality. And the best part is you only pay if they've watched your ad for more than 30 seconds. So you are essentially just paying for a lead. But if they didn't watch after 30 seconds, you still got that brand exposure for free in those first 30 seconds, which creates trust, and maybe further down the line, you'll be top of mind and they'll reach out to you later on. So that's why YouTube ads are really awesome. Then with Google ads, here you get immediate intention. So if someone is immediately looking for a plumber, they go online, they're searching for a plumber, and then they find you because you're running Google ads. So you're going to come up first, and then they can go on your websites. If your website is set up properly, you're going to close the deal really quickly. So that's why Google ads are great. But I still run Meta ads because there's good targeting. If your creatives are good, your conversion rates would be high as well. And there are a lot of strategies that you can utilize in order to get those leads. So what we like to do is we like to use a combination of these three platforms. We start with Google ads, and most of the budget goes to Google ads because it's still the number one way to generate leads. Then you can retarget with YouTube ads. You can also reach further audiences via Meta ads, and I still use Meta ads all the time. I'm running a Meta ad right now. It's also really important to note that you need to know your clients and the person you're trying to speak to, because if they're not hanging out on YouTube, it's absolutely pointless to be running YouTube ads, because if your client isn't there, you're basically going to end up wasting money. So you need to be very clear on who your audience is so that you can have the correct targeting. Then the third important pillar of this whole system is the offer and the landing page. So here are a couple of Google searches for dentists, and as you can see, all of them basically look exactly the same. Even if you go onto their websites, all of them look exactly the same. So tell me, what is going to make you choose this guy instead of this guy? There is no differentiation. So the problem is that because all of these are identical and there's absolutely no user journey, and your offer and your unique selling proposition isn't clear, the only way that you're competing with with your other competitors is trying to outspend them. And you don't want to be in that position because you're going to be spending more money than you need to spend. And that's where your offer and your website comes in. Your offer must show value first. It cannot be too salesy. You need to speak to the potential client's desires and outcomes, and you need to give something away for free to incentivize them to take that action. So what I do for myself is I have a free call button on my website so that they think they're getting something for free, and chatting to me for some free information is completely given away, which incentivizes them to actually book the call. And most of the time I'm able to close them, and then, more business for me. So here's the simple roadmap. You have an offer and you need to frame your offer in an interesting way, because for me, example, I can say I sell websites. That doesn't make you want to buy my websites because there are a ton of people selling websites. So instead, I frame it in the way where I say, we help businesses scale by optimizing their website for conversions, leading to a higher conversion rate, which means more sales and more revenue. So that's our selling points, and that's the way that we frame our offer. And I mean, it's true, but it's also just a fancy way of saying we do websites. Now that you have the offer, you need to amplify their pain. If their pain is that they're not getting enough leads, you need to amplify that pain. Why are you not getting enough leads? What steps are you not doing to get those leads that you want? Are you not spending enough? Are you working with the wrong people? All of these questions are making the prospect think, why is this? And it's making them feel pain. And pain equals action later down the line. So we want to amplify their pain. And then we want to position our offer as the solution to their problem. And you need to actually be able to solve this. But essentially, what we have here is, this is where they currently are, this is where they want to be, and our solution is the steps for them to actually get there, and that's how we're going to frame it on our landing page. So there's the solution. Then to further incentivize them, we need to guarantee that they're going to get this result. And that's why you need to be very confident in your offer, because you need to be able to guarantee that this is going to work. And that's almost a given. You can't say that you fix toilets and then you can't fix the toilet, because you're just going to have an unhappy customer. And then you can use some urgency and scarcity tactics. And I also use this on my websites. I say that we're almost fully booked, which often is the case, but it just makes them feel like they need to take action now, otherwise they're not going to be able to work with me. So there's a lot that you can do on your website alone to enhance that conversion rate. And in this whole system, if every single part is optimized for conversions, you are going to turn your $1,000 to $4,000 rather than $1,000 to $1,200. So that is why this system is so important. And if you follow this roadmap and you have this ecosystem in place, you're going to get more ad clicks, you're going to have higher conversions, and you're going to clearly differentiate from your competitor. And it's going to bring down your lead cost. So you're paying less for a lead, which is always great. But in short, this is the ecosystem at a high level overview that is going to ensure that you always have leads coming through the door. And this is basically what I've been doing for myself and my clients for a very long time. I know I didn't go into too much detail at every single step, so I'll have future videos going into exactly what your ad needs to look like, exactly what your website needs to look like, so that you guys have all of the information you need to do this yourself. You can always feel free to reach out to me. My website link is down below. My Instagram is down below, so just shoot me a DM, send me an email, wherever you want to chat to me, and I'll be happy to help out. But I hope that you guys found this video useful, and I'll see you guys in the next one, where we can maybe break down what the first step to creating a great ad would look like. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.